Every summer it's the same. For some reason it suddenly becomes very hard for men to look stylish, in the sense of masculine elegance. And you start noticing a few different types of guys trying to solve the problem. The first type tries to be elegant. They wear shirts, they wear loafers, sometimes even the whole linen look. And they think it looks sophisticated. But something feels off. Instead of looking masculine, they start looking soft. Then you have the second type, the guys who simply stop caring. White t-shirt, shorts, snap cap, sneakers, full casual mode, almost look like they decided summer means style is cancelled. And then there is the third type, the gym guys. They go full masculine everything. Everything tight, tight t-shirt, short shorts, trying to show much physique as possible. But instead of looking powerful, it starts looking try-hard. So somehow every summer the same thing happens. Men try different strategies, but none of them really work. And to be fair, I understand why. Because dressing well in summer is actually not easy. The fabrics change, the colors change, the textures change. And one of the most powerful tools in men's style almost disappears. Layering, no jackets, no coats, no real structure. Compared to autumn or winter, you suddenly have far fewer tools to work with. And that's where most men make their mistake. Because in summer, you have fewer tools. Which means one thing, precision matters more. And that's exactly why most men struggle with summer style. But once you understand what actually creates masculine elegance in warm weather, the whole thing becomes surprisingly simple. But before we even talk about clothing, there are two things I accept you already understand. First, you should be in shape. It's 2026, that should be obvious by now. And second, your clothes need to be ironed. Because no matter how good the outfit is, wrinkled clothing destroys the entire look. So now that we got the basics out of the way, let's talk about what actually makes summer style masculine. Because this is where most men get it completely wrong. So if dressing well in summer feels harder, it's not just in your head. Summer style actually plays by different rules. And most men never realize that, because when the temperature rises, something important disappears. Not just comfort, your style tools. Think about autumn or winter for a second. You have jackets, coats, layers, different fabrics, different textures. You can build depth into an outfit. You can create structure. You can balance proportions. Even if something isn't perfect, the layers often hide it. In summer, most of that disappears. And that changes everything. Because layering is one of the most powerful tools in men's style. It hides mistakes, it adds structure, it adds weight to the outfit, it gives you control, but once the tool disappears, every remaining element suddenly becomes exposed. Your shirt matters more, your trousers matter more, your proportions matter more, even textures of the fabric matters more. And that's where most men start struggling, because when you have fewer tools, the margin for error becomes much smaller. Small mistakes suddenly become very visible. The wrong fabric, the wrong fit, the wrong proportions, and suddenly the whole outfit starts falling apart. Which is why summer style often ends up looking like one of two extremes, either too casual or trying way too hard. But here is the interesting part. Once you understand what actually creates masculine elegance in warm weather, the whole thing becomes much more simpler than most men think. Because summer style is not about adding more, it's about understanding which elements still matter. And there are a few principles that control almost every elegant summer outfit. The first one is something you can already see in almost every great example of masculine summer style. But most men never notice it, and once you start seeing it, you suddenly start seeing it by yourself. The framework. So if most men struggle with summer style, and if summer removes many of the tools we normally rely on, then the obvious question becomes, what actually creates masculine elegance in summer? Because if you look at the men who consistently dress well in warm weather, something interesting appears. They're not wearing complicated outfits. No heavy layers, no complex styling, no expensive fashion pieces. Most of the time the outfit is incredibly simple. A t-shirt, a polo, or a lightweight shirt. But somehow the result still looks strong, still looks intentional, still looks masculine. And once you start analyzing these outfits more, you realize something. They are not random. In fact, almost every elegant summer outfit follows few very clear visual principles. Principles that control the silhouette of the body, the structure, the outfit, and the balance between simplicity and presence. So instead of thinking about fashion trends, we need to focus on something much more important: structure. And that starts with the first principle: strong silhouette. The first principle of masculine summer elegance has nothing to do with trends. It's not about expensive clothes either. It's about silhouette. Because when summer removes jackets and layers, something else suddenly becomes much more visible: your body shape. And that's why the silhouette becomes so important in colder seasons. Jackets and coats help create structure. They build the shoulders, they define the waist, they create presence. But in summer, that structure disappears, which means the silhouette has to come from somewhere else. And in great summer outfits, it comes from two things: the fit of the clothing and the shape of the body underneath. That's why when you look at men who dress well in summer, you notice something immediately. The clothing is simple, but the silhouette is strong. The t-shirt fits the chest, the sleeves define the arms, the shoulders stay sharp, nothing oversized, nothing sloppy, just clean lines. And once you understand that, you start realizing something interesting. The top of the outfit can actually be very simple. But the bottom of the outfit still has a very important job. Which brings us to the second principle: elegant trousers. Once the silhouette is strong, the next element becomes incredibly important: the lower half of the body, because this is where most men make the biggest mistake in summer. When the temperature rises, many men immediately switch to shorts. It feels logical: less fabric, more comfort. But there is a problem. Shorts remove one of the most important visual elements in men's style: vertical structure. Trousers create long, clean lines that add presence to the outfit. They give the whole silhouette a sense of weight and balance. When you remove them, the entire outfit suddenly becomes casual. That's why if you look at men who consistently dress well in summer, you notice something interesting. Even in very warm climates, they still wear trousers. Lightweight chinos, linen trousers, pleated trousers, because of these pieces anchor the outfit. They balance the simplicity of the top, and that balance is what creates that elegance. A simple polo with shorts often looks unfinished, but the same polo with tailored trousers suddenly feels intentional. The same is true for a t-shirt. With shorts, it looks casual. With well-cut trousers, it suddenly looks defined. So the rule becomes very simple. The top of the outfit can be relaxed, but the bottom of the outfit should remain structure. And once you understand that balance, you start noticing something else in almost every great summer outfit. The clothing itself becomes extremely simple, which leads to the third principle: intentional simplicity. Now, once you understand silhouette and once you understand the role of the trousers, you start noticing something else. Most great summer outfits are actually very simple. No layers, no complex combinations, no overstyling. In many cases, it's just two pieces: a t-shirt and trousers, a polo and chinos, a linen shirt and linen trousers. That's it. There is where most men get it wrong. They think simplicity means just throw on something, and that's exactly where elegance disappears. Because simplicity without intention looks careless. And in summer, that becomes very visible, because you don't have layers to hide mistakes anymore. So every detail suddenly matters more. The fit, the fabric, the color, the proportions, everything is exposed, and this is the paradox of summer style. The outfit becomes simpler, but the level of precision has to increase. That's why this outfit works. Not because they are complicated, but because every piece is chosen on purpose. Nothing is random. Once you understand this, you stop trying to add more to your outfit and you start focusing on making fewer pieces look right.